online crew. Welcome to today's live where I'm going to talk about branding again, because whenever I do, the question comes up in kind of like, well, I'm a nobody. Like, I haven't really had much success in my business yet, and I don't really have any influence yet. So how can I build a brand? So let's have a chat about it, because there are ways and means around it. And some of you need to get out of your own head and realize the potential that's in front of you just by doing certain things. And 3 things that I will share with you in today's video. So I really hope this is going to be helpful for those of you that don't have much success yet, in this industry. So in this industry, I mean entrepreneurs, home-based business, direct sellers, network marketing, that kind of stuff. And you don't really have much influence yet, especially on social media, but you do want to build a brand. But you second guess yourself and you go into imposter syndrome, and it's like, how can I create a brand when I really don't have much to fall back on, and I can't say that I've done this and I've done that, because I haven't. So let's have a chat about that today. Does anybody feel like this? Does anybody feel reserved about building a brand or the capability of building a brand because you haven't had any success in your business? If you're anything like me, when I first came online, I did have imposter syndrome. And if you don't know what that means, it's like, how can I kind of turn up and teach people on this kind of topic and brand myself in this certain way when I haven't recruited anyone online myself yet? Like, I'm learning, and it's what I want to do, and it's what I want to, learn how to do really well, but I haven't done it yet. So how can I build a brand around that? Yet I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to build online. I knew my target market. I knew how I wanted to position myself on social media. I didn't necessarily get it, but I knew where I wanted to go. And hopefully, a lot of you do too. You know where you want to go. You just, but you're still learning, and you might be in information overload at the moment in relation to that, and that's okay. So I've been there, I've done that, and I want to talk about it with you guys today. Okay. So I just want to say hello. Who's with me live? Say hello, either Instagram up there or Facebook here. We've got Olive. StreamYard still doesn't like you. I'm going to send a support ticket to StreamYard and go, why can't people that have been around me for years not let me see their name? Hello, Faye, because Faye's the same at the moment. How are you, Faye? Good to see you on. We've got Beth, we've got Meredith, we've got Melinda, we've got Tina, we've got Melinda, me, agreeing with that. Great to see you on. Susan, great to see you here. Anybody that's here live, please say hello. If we haven't met before, my name's Helen Martin. I'm your online crew captain. This is just a bit of fun. You've got to have fun when you're building your business, guys. If you're not having fun, you're probably stressed, and that's not much fun at all. So align yourself with a team and mentors that have fun while they're building their business. But what I do here is teach social media skills, modern social media skills, to help you build your business online, as long as you've got an internet connection and a phone or a computer or something like that. However, what's important to me is to build my business with absolute integrity and being a human before a marketer. So if that's what aligns with you, if you want to build your business with integrity and being a human before a marketer, then you're definitely in the right space, because that's everything that I talk about here. I'm in the industry with you. I'm building a global team, in a network marketing business. So everything I'm sharing with you, I'm doing myself. Okay. And so this comes from my journey, I guess. So I like to share with you guys what works and what hasn't worked, and, my journey, hence the branding one. All right. So 3 simple strategies. There's more to it than this with branding, but I want to share with you 3 things to think about in relation to, building a brand when you don't have much success or influence behind you. So let me ask you a question, and give me your first thought that comes to your head when I ask you this question. Do you have to be successful to be helpful? Think about that for a minute. Put it in the comments. Do you have to be successful to be helpful to somebody else? Do you have to have runs on the board? Do you have to have a big team? Do you have to have lots of money in your bank account to be helpful to someone? What are your thoughts around that? Not at all, says Susan. No, says Tonya. No, just be helpful, says Beth. No, you don't, says Jennifer. No, says Belinda. Did I say Belinda? Melinda. Just no, you don't. Just know where you're headed, what you want, what you're trying to achieve, and be helpful to people. That will help you start build a brand when you're helpful to people. So how are you helpful to people? Well, you got to know what it is that you want to be helpful to people for. So this is, the whole branding conversation of who's my target market, what problems do I solve, those kind of things. What is it that I want to help people? So get really clear about that first, because you can't build a brand unless you're clear about that, that type of thing. But you can absolutely be helpful to people without being the expert, without having lots of money in your bank account, without being successful first. You can absolutely be helpful. So take that. This is point number one. You can give value and be helpful to people in your niche area without success and influence. Okay. Here's something that's really, really important. When you start turning up online and you're like, okay, I don't have the success yet, but I know what my kind of passion is to help people with, and I'm just going to start sharing information that I'm sort of learning. So one thing to, remember, ILT. Who knows what that means? ILT. So if you know what that means, put it down in the comments section. I'll revisit that in a minute. But here's the kicker that's really, really, really important. How you share the information is critical. One way that you share the information, you'll get judged. The other way you share information, you'll be seen as somebody who's helpful. So what do I mean by that? When you turn up and you start to build a brand and you start to talk about a particular topic and you know who your target market is and what problems you want to solve, and you get up there and you try to be somebody that you're not, and you try to teach and you overteach, and you're like, right, I've got 5 tips for you to do XYZ, whatever your niche area is. Tip 1, you should do this. Tip 2, you absolutely have to do that. Tip 3, you've got to be doing this, whatever. So how it's coming across to people that don't know you as being successful in this field, you're at them. And it may be teaching, and they may even be amazing points, but you're teaching at people. You're not having a conversation with people. So what I mean by that, here's the difference in the language. So here's 5 tips to XYZ, and it may be good material and you might be right, but your friends and family, maybe, even if you're doing it on a personal profile, are sitting back and going, who does she think who she is? She's not successful as that. She doesn't have, or he doesn't have any success in this industry. What gives them a right to talk about 5 tips to do with that when they haven't even done that themselves? Okay, one reaction. The other reaction, this is how you deliver the message. So something that's important to me and what I'm learning about at the moment is XYZ. It could be product based or it could be business based. For me, you get business tips, from me, how to build online. So let's take, my example. So what I'm learning, and this is what I had to learn to do in the beginning, because I didn't start this way. I was dictating, I was teaching, I was giving good sort of content. In the back of my mind, I'm going, you haven't even done this yourself. So how can you teach people to recruit online when you haven't even recruited online yourself? So this is the other way to sort of share the information. So what's important to me, like I have a vision and I don't want, and this is my story, okay? Just one example. I've come from the corporate world. I was a general manager, and I'm only not a general manager anymore because we had a family member pass away. Some of you know this story. Family member pass away. We decided to move to the country to take care of family affairs, and I couldn't travel an extra 2 hours a day. in the morning, at night. I just couldn't do it to my kids. I couldn't do it myself, and I couldn't do it to my husband. So I reluctantly resigned. And then I did this. So it's a bit of my story, okay? But what I have a vision for now is building a business from home so I can read in the classroom with my boys. I can go to sports days. I can do all the things that I couldn't do in the corporate world. So what I'm learning at the moment is how to do that online. So the reason that I'm here is the stuff that I'm learning. I want to share it with you because if you're in the same circumstance as me, you might find what I'm learning really helpful for yourself. So what was suggested to me was to something or other. So, what I'm trying at the moment, which is working quite well, is deliver your tip. And what I've also learned from a mentor of mine is the tip. So that might be something that you could try and it could give you better results to do XYZ. And the other thing that I've learned, which I thought was really cool, it really resonated with me, so it might resonate with you. The third tip I wanted to share, and I thought, I just really connected with this tip. So, it might be helpful for you as well. Do you see the difference in how I've delivered the message? One, I'm telling, I'm dictating, I'm teaching. The second one, I'm sharing and I'm recommending. Which do you think is going to be listened to more? What do you think people are going to respect more when you don't have success yet? You don't have lots of dollars in your bank account yet? Which one of those two ways do you think people are going to listen to or respect more? I tell you now, the first one, you're going to get judged. Who are they to talk about that? What do they know about that top? They're not successful in weight loss yet. Look at them. How can they give weight loss tips when they're, that big? Like that, you're being judged. Whereas you share, like, I'm on a long journey here. I got a long way to go. But what I'm learning and I'm implementing and it's helping me, like I'm losing the pounds. Like this is really helping me. And I thought if it helped me, it can help me, it can help you. So what I'm learning to do and I'm implementing at the moment is such and such. And I've lost some pounds from that. So I wanted to share it with you because it might be helpful for you as well. Do you see the difference? So tip number one is share and suggest. Don't dictate and tell. Totally different perception from the people listening to you when you do a live video or you bring out tips. If you share your journey and suggest and recommend rather than talk at people and dictate to them, totally different vibe on the receiving end of that. Okay, that's how you can start to build a brand without any success or influence. Is that helpful? Okay. Just sharing. Well done, those that got it. Melinda, invest, learn, teach. That's the ILT. Invest in some training or a mentor or a course or something like that on your topic, your niche area. Learn it and turn around and teach it. But when you teach it, you're suggesting and recommending, you're not dictating. Okay, so ILT, there is plenty of information out there. Do you know most information that you learn is not new? Especially personal development, mindset. None of that is new. It's been around for 50, 100, 150, 200 years. You hear it for the first time and you think it's the first time and it's not the first time. Plenty of people before you have written books, like The Magic of Thinking Big, and was that the actual title? Something similar to that, like all the books and resources that have been around for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Not a lot of information that you're learning is new. Social media is a little bit different because it grows and evolves and there's always something new. But, hopefully you get what I mean. So invest, learn, teach. A lot of you got that. Beth, don't preach. This is what I'm learning. Awesome. Melinda, I put just learning out loud here. That's pretty cool. Then I teach what I've been learning. Does that sound? That's good. Learning out loud. I love that because that's exactly what you're doing. You're learning out loud. And so when you use words like, I really wanted to share this because I thought this was a really good tip that I heard. So if it's helpful to me, it might be helpful to you. So, XYZ. Share to others. This helped me and hopefully it can help you on your journey. Beautiful, Susan. Love that, Melinda. Awesome. Sharing and recommending. That's it. Sharing and recommending. Such a difference and sounds so more inviting to listen to. This is where you don't want to be judged. You want to be listened to. So if you want to be listened to when you've had no little success or influence, that's how you do it. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, tell stories, and they may not be your own. How much of a difference does social proof make with other people's stories? So if you're product based, it could be somebody's testimonial. If you're business based, it could be somebody else that you know that you work with closely and they just done some really cool things in a short amount of time. Share those stories. Show people what's possible through what people are achieving. Go into groups that you've got with testimonials, whether it's product or business, and network with the people that are around you that are having more success than you, and get them to share their stories. It's also like telling stories. It's your journey. This is the path that I'm on. This is where I'm going. And be honest enough to say, I'm not there yet, but I'm progressing. And through what I've learned, I know progress is progress. And it's the little things that I do every day that's going to get me to where I want to go. It's not being all in and then off. It's not like going on a diet for 2 weeks and then I eat badly for 4. Doesn't work that way. So you can use analogies and stories to help be interesting, and people will want to listen to you because you're putting in front of them testimonials of other people where, people go, wow, that's an amazing story, because it triggers emotion. Stories trigger emotion. And when you get people to tap into what you're saying emotionally, then they're listening. So again, it's not just the dictating and telling, it's stories, your story, your journey, your authenticity, your genuineness about the journey that you're on, but also tapping into the people around you, using other people's testimonials, as long as you've got their permission to do that, interviewing other people that you work with, interviewing somebody that's used a product of yours and they have a story, a positive story. So using storytelling from your own perspective and others can also help you build a brand without any success yet. Okay? No one can argue with your story. And no one can argue with somebody that's got a testimonial that's an amazing story. No one can argue with that. So that's number two. Number three, right off the back of, I'll explain this to you, right off the back of what I call like an exposure agent. Something that you're connected to that has a lot of information and research and things like that that you can use to your disposal. So those of you in a company, that company might have resources and papers and PDFs and information and things like that that you can utilize. So you may not know everything yourself, but you've got a resource to tap into that you can IoT, invest, learn, look around. They've got all the expertise. They've got all the, information. They're doing the training. You could, almost use me as an exposure agent. There are some of you that are doing similar things than I am. So you listen to a video of mine, you pick up some good tips, and you turn around and teach it. So, some of you might be in my coaching community where you get a deeper layer of training and you learn something awesome. And so you leverage the training that you're learning from me. It's kind of like an exposure agent. So any of you that are attached to a mentorship company or some training of some sort, or a guru or a mentor that you're attached to, or your network marketing company, what can you tap into from those resources, those exposure agents, that you don't have to know all the answers yourself? Take the pressure off. Even Google can be like an exposure agent because you can do a lot of research on any topic on Google. You don't need to know all the answers yourself. You just have to IoT. Invest either some time or some money. It's usually one or the other. Learn some new things and then turn around it and teach it to build your brand. But it may not be your individual kind of thoughts. It might be something you've learned from somebody else or another mentorship company or a coaching community or a guru that you're aligned with, those kind of things. But you don't have to have all the answers yourself to build a brand. You leverage the resources around you and ILT. Okay, so if there's somebody around you that's doing training in your niche area, or you're learning from it, or if you've invested in the program, they're kind of called an exposure agent. They've got the the knowledge, you're learning it. So you take that, for your advantage and turn around and teach it. But give credit where credit is due. If you've learnt something from someone, and you're teaching it sort of verbatim, then turn around and say, look, one of my mentors is XYZ, or, a mentorship company I sort of learned for, or my company, you don't name it. I'm in a health and wellness company, and they shared some information about weight loss or whatever, and this is what they said. So you give credit where credit is due. If you're learning from somebody, you can turn around and say, look, one of my mentors, Helen Martin, she did a video the other day about 5 tips to, whatever. And I just wanted to pass on something that, she said, because it really resonated with me. So I thought it might be helpful to you. So give credit where credit is due when you're using like an exposure agent. You're using the information from somewhere else. So you're not plagiarizing. Okay. And it actually gives you more credibility to say that, rather than coming off as an expert and everyone around you knows that you're not. So don't put yourself in a position to be judged. Put yourself in a position to be absolutely respected as somebody who's going somewhere, somebody that's on a journey to achieve something, and you're sharing what you're learning along the way. Does that make sense? So turn up and be that person, and you can absolutely build a brand and build credibility along the way by following those 3 things. So for those of you that have struggled with that sort of mentally a little bit, I just really hope that helps you. I hope that you remember, if nothing else from this video, share and suggest, don't dictate and tell, because you will be perceived so differently from people on your personal profile. Those of you with a business page or a group, when you're sharing and recommending, you're not getting judged as somebody that you are not. You're not coming across as somebody who's having more success than they actually have. And everyone around you knows you're not successful, but you're turning up, making out that you are. So it can be a totally different journey in building a brand by taking these 3 things into consideration. Okay. Now, I do highly recommend, any of you that have been around me for a while, you know how important that I think this branding, because the branding is the foundation of your content, how you show up. Everything revolves around your brand. Like if you haven't got this sorted out and you need to, then join me on the branding course that's starting next week. The information is above, or those of you on Instagram, just go to helenmartinonline.com/branding. Look at the information. Coaching community members, you get a special discount. So reach out for the discount code. It's in the posts in the Coaching Community Facebook group. But don't skip this step. However you sort out branding, don't overlook how you can brand, how you can execute branding, because this is where your tribe and your community comes from, and your conversations. And when you have a tribe and a community that start to follow you, that know, like, and trust you because you're real, raw, genuine, authentic, that's when you start to build a brand. And when you build a brand around a community that think like you do and stand for the same things you do, that's when conversations come up for potential customers and potential teammates. 5 years ago, I knew nothing about attraction marketing, the online world, social media. I was a general manager in the corporate world. I was the last person on Facebook, I swear. Couldn't have given a continental about Facebook or sharing anything on Facebook. And look where we are now. And almost 2 years ago, cracked multiple 6 figures with all the things that I've created from nothing by building a brand. Everything sort of comes from building the brand. Do not overlook building your brand, because that's where everything stems from. Okay. As we spoke about yesterday, if you missed yesterday's live, go and catch it. There is conflicting advice about branding, personal branding, and what you should be doing online and all those kind of things. And I know that there are leaders out there that don't have so much of a personal brand and they brand the company. Who wouldn't if you're earning 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a month? When I get to earn $80,000 a month, I'll probably plaster the company's name all over social media. Well, I probably wouldn't even at that stage, but because I've learned what I've learned. But they can get away with it because they're already successful. So I'm not going to repeat all of that. Listen to yesterday's conversation. But if you're newer, you don't have big influence on social media, you don't have a lot of success yet, the branding piece is crucial. So don't overlook it. But I really hope that today's live has helped you in how to show up and start to build a brand in an authentic way where people look at you and go, they were really helpful, rather than who the hell do they think they are? I know which one you would rather people perceive you as, but that comes down to how you portray messages. Okay? I really hope that's helpful. Yep, facts tell, stories sell. Susan, you got it. Great information from Beth. Melinda, thank you. Exactly what I needed to hear. Awesome. I'm glad that was helpful. That's what's so awesome about building a brand. No one would believe that with all you have accomplished. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate your lovely comment there. Okay, it's the end of the week for me. What that means is I'm not live until next week, but we do start the branding course on the 2nd of November. So if it's something you need, I work with you for almost a month to sort out your branding, your content, your page or a group, your banner, your messaging. It takes that long to do it properly. So if that's what you need, just go to helenmartinonline.com/branding and let me help you. Okay, because it's the foundation of everything you do. But I hope you have an amazing weekend. It's Friday for me in Australia. I know it's only Thursday night for a lot of you, but I hope you have an amazing weekend. And I'm really excited, to be back here with you next week for more great training. Okay, so I'll catch you.